So we're going to get introduced to another technology. It's called a framework. So a framework will help us to do things simply. So a framework is just like the way you see Bootstrap, which help us to do CSS of things that are commonly done by CSS that are already preset. So we don't need to create a button by ourselves. We just import Bootstrap, and that Bootstrap will take care of the rest. So in that situation, there's also what we call frameworks for the back-end languages. So the framework that we saw, among those frameworks, we have many of them. We're going to look at the list. Those frameworks, they have most common done things, such as inserting into a database, connecting to a database, compressing photos, uploading photos. It's just like a group of libraries, all of them put together, that will help you to do things that we always do in a simpler way. That code is already preset. So what you do, you just download that code, you read the documentation, and implement it. So that code becomes like a backbone of your project, because the one that takes control across over your project. So in a simple way, that's how you can define a framework. So let us try to search PHP frameworks, and we see which are already in place. So you have PHP frameworks. So among them, we have Laravel. This is number 1. We have CodeIgniter, the one that we're going to look at today. We have Symfony, we have Zend, we have Falcon, we have PHP Cake, we have Yi, you have Fuel, PHP, and some other few ones. So these ones, they're the ones that help us do what? To work with PHP in a simpler way. But of course, it won't be simple until you understand how it works. So today we're going to get introduced at what? At one PHP framework called CodeIgniter. So CodeIgniter, it implements good web practices or good programming practices. And that practices, it has a certain architecture that we call MVC. So the MVC is architecture in a way that you separate your code or share your code into 3 different sections. And this one will help you to understand or to keep everything organized in a way that if you want a certain thing, you'll know exactly where to find it. Not like they would have been before, all your functions in a different files, and some information that you may need, they are also put in a different file, so you fail to understand to separate things. So MVC, in simple terms, is it stands for MVC. It stands for what? Model View Controller. So we'll separate our code into 3 sections. One is called model, another one is called view, another one is called controller. So a model, it will be like an object, a class of an object that you are going to use. And then a view, it will be the information that will appear in front of the user. So everything that you shall put in view section is the one that will appear in the user interface. Then controller, it is the one that will be responsible for the links. Like when someone will click on a certain link, control is the one that will choose a certain view to display to those users. Then the logic that will be done, it will be stored inside the what? Inside the model. So with view, with the user, what will be seeing and that they'll be interacting with. Then they click on something, then this controller will come and fetch some information in the model, and realize what is supposed to be done, or to select a certain model that should be displayed, as well as then that model is to do what, it will be displayed on what, on the user's computer inside the view. So if you can see this architecture clearly, there is no direct communication between the view and the model. All the communication, all the links that will be sent or that will be clicked on, they will be controlled by the what? By the controller. For example, if we are to submit a form or submit anything, it will first pass through a controller. So meaning that if we don't have a controller, then we have no way we can respond to anything that comes from the view. So the controller has ability to display something directly to the view, or call the model and this model will be able to display something on the view. But there is no any way we can reach here. So for the sake of security, you can put your security here such that before you allow anything to be displayed, you first check it here in the controller. Then after making a dry decision, then you can go ahead and display, whether using the view itself or using the model. But before, we could fail even what to put the security. Why? Because all our files, the model, everything, the views, everything was inside the same file. So with that simple introduction, let us start implementing what is supposed to be done to implement the MVC. So we're going to use the framework of CodeIgniter as a framework, and to download CodeIgniter, you simply search, just like what I told you. It is a piece. They are pieces of code, so how to download it. So I can just simply search CodeIgniter, and you'll see a framework, a home page for CodeIgniter here. So this is CodeIgniter for ourselves, and you can come and read along. There's a documentation here. It is well documented. Anything that you want to know about CodeIgniter, they have already written about it here. So you have CodeIgniter 4 and CodeIgniter 3. So you can as well download this their documentation and read offline, or you can read while you're online. So here is their documentation. Okay, so before we go into documentation, let us first download the CodeIgniter itself. So I'm going to download CodeIgniter 3, because before you go to CodeIgniter 4, you have to be familiar with CodeIgniter 3. So I'll click on download, and after clicking on download, I'll select the third one. So I'll click on on download to start processing, and then to download for me the code. So here is the code in this zip. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new project, and I don't know whether I should do. Okay, I'm going to just create a new project that we're going to use for practice. Now to create a project, I'll simply come to my XAMPP. So far members, hi, are we together? We are together, right? You're following? That's good. Fat, you following? Fatumat, are you following? Why? What? She disconnected. Are you sure? When did she leave? Docs. You should watch clearly. And I'm going to create my new project. So htdocs here, and I'm going to create a new project. And this project, I'm going to call it, maybe should be a shop or hmusic. I wanted hmusic, but I wanted to implement this one after getting enough introduction. Okay, shall do it, no problem. Okay, so that's our project, you can see. So what I'm going to do, if I come here to localhost and then stroke phpMusic1, I'll be able to see that empty project. So what I'm going to do, members, I'm going to put the code of CodeIgniter here, the one that I've just downloaded. So I'll come here, show the folder, there it is. So I'm going to come here and copy the CodeIgniter zip and paste it there. So it has been pasted. So I'm going to extract and put it here. So say extracts files here. So okay, so it has been extracted. So once it's extracted, I can delete this zip. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the code that is inside here and put it on top. Okay, so I'll open, select this code, come to the top of my project and paste it. So it means that this folder is now empty, so I can delete it again. So there we are. Are we together, members? Can anyone respond that we are together? Can anyone respond? Are we together? Okay. You want to sleep? Yeah. You will ask after. So there we are. What did I delete? Okay, so there we are. I just unzip the code and then paste it here on top here. Okay, here. So I say this thing is now empty. I can delete it. That's what it's meaning. So let us try to look at the code at these folders before even go ahead. We have a folder called application. So members, listen carefully. We have a folder called application. This application is where we shall put all the logic. I repeat, all the logic of our project will be inside what? Inside application. We have a folder called system. This system, we don't touch it. It is where CodeIgniter is located. The logic of whole CodeIgniter is inside here. So you don't need to bother or to tamper with this for now. We have user guide. This user guide is a good and well documentation of CodeIgniter, in a way that if I want to read about CodeIgniter, I can just simply drag and drop it here, and then I'll be able to read about CodeIgniter, all the functions, everything is documentation while I'm offline. You see, while I'm offline. So it comes with its what? Its user guide. You see, so it means that we can as well delete this user guide because it's not part of our project. If we want to, okay, we can as well delete it. Why? Because just documentation. So why would we have it in our project? So that's documentation. Then we have index.php. Index.php, of course, is the default file, and that will be opened when you do what? When you start CodeIgniter, and we don't need to touch it. All the logic that is there is for CodeIgniter to allow work with our what? With our project. All what we need to work with is the content inside the application folder. So what I'm going to do, I am going to open these files, for this project in my code editor. So there is my Sublime text. I'll open new instance, and I'm going to drag and drop all the files here. There we go. So I can just what did I do? I'm going to drag and drop the whole folder, phpMusic1. There we go. So here is our what? Is our project. Now let us look at it step by step. We have application, we have system, we have user guide. User guide, you don't need to touch it, you can delete it, no problem. System, you don't need to touch it. Application is what we shall be playing with. It's what we shall be playing with. So before we proceed, let us first try to look at also the folders inside application, just step by step. And we have cache. This one is where the pages will be cached in case we need to. Don't mind about it so much. We have config. Here, so we shall put the configuration of our project, the kind of settings that will come here inside the config project. The config folder. We have what? We have controller. You remember our architecture that we talked about before? We said it is MVC. MVC. Model View Controller. We go back where we talked about, was it? Remember what he said? It is a what? MVC. And this is a very good representation of what? Of MVC. View is what the user will see. Controller, it will be controlling the links. And then the model for the object and the structure of element that we deal with in our project. So we have just seen the first C, which is here. Can you see? C, controller. So all our controllers in our project, they'll come in this folder where you're seeing the C. Okay, so far this C we know where it is. Then you have core. This one also have some basic information for what CodeIgniter, but you can also as well put there our external libraries in case we have to use libraries. We have helpers. This one also will help us to configure the helpers that we shall look at. Helpers will be classes that will help us to perform some different things. We have hooks. We have language in case we translate our project. The language files will come here. We have library. In case we have to use external libraries, we shall put the libraries inside there. We have logs for the errors. In case there is a crash in a project, the logs will be written and saved here. Then you have the model. So this is another what? Another part of architecture, which is the M. So you have the M here, and you have the C here. So we have also the views. These other folders, we may not mind about them. We have what? We have views. So view is now where we shall be putting all the UI that will be displayed to the user. So it will come inside what? Inside the view. So that makes the project, the whole the structure. M, V, and C. The architecture is done. So we shall be putting here our models, shall be putting here our views, and shall be putting our controllers here. So we have configuration. So this is where we shall be configuring our project from. Now let us try to visit our project again. Remember, before I had not copied the data, the code. Now I've copied the code and I've made sure that the basic code is on what? On top of the application. You see? The plain code, the index part is on top of the application. Now let's go and refresh. So if you see this, then you'll know that you have successfully done what? You have successfully installed the CodeIgniter in your project. As you can see here, it is this one, and we did not expect this in our project. So after doing that, can you see? Welcome to CodeIgniter, this and this. Okay, so by just putting these files with that we download and install and then copy and paste and then move them to this folder like this, then we got this. Okay, so once you see this, you will know that everything is okay. Now if we click here, we shall see the what? The user guide, of course, and that's user guide. Remember, it is what? It's offline when we just downloaded it. So all the steps that you want to learn, all the notes that you may need to know about CodeIgniter, they are here, well explained. So we start. So what we're going to start, we're going to begin by trying to modify this message. So if we look at MVC, all the request goes to where? To the controller. So this is the home page request. So I'm going to see which controller are we using. So to see the controller, we shall have to come to the controllers here. So you can see we're having one controller. This is just a default page, the index.html. But you can see we're having one controller. And this controller is called welcome.php. So I'm going to open this controller, and then we shall have something like this. It may look like Chinese for the first time, but don't worry, it's self-explanatory. We're going to explain it step by step until we get all of them absorbed in our heads. So these other lines, they're just comments that are trying to explain everything. I can as well delete them, okay? And this one, I can also delete it. So this is what makes a what? What makes a controller. So if I save, I come and refresh, nothing has changed and everything is okay. So let's try to see what is going on here. So we might have not been introduced to PHP object-oriented programming, but PHP object-oriented programming is just as simple. It's just simple. It's not so complicated. So what is being done here? It is a PHP, and then we are defining a class, and this class is called what? Welcome. And this class must extend CodeIgniter controller, CI controller. Note it down. For a what? For a controller, it must, for a controller class, it must extend the CodeIgniter controller. Remember, if you already have the knowledge of extending, of object-oriented programming, if you extend a certain class, what does it mean? It means that all the functionalities in that class, you have inherited them in this new class, and you can use all the power, all the energy, all the functions that are in public of the other class. You can use them in this new class. So for example, a new class is called welcome and is extending CodeIgniter. CI means CodeIgniter controller. So it means that all the power of CodeIgniter controller has been added to this new class that we have created. Otherwise, if you don't extend this one, then how shall it control the project? So it will be impossible, because it will be just a normal class. But the whole power, the whole magic that we want is inside CI controller. And so if we extend to it, we shall get all its power and have it in our new class. So we have that new class, and inside that new class we are having a public function, and this public is a public function, and it is having the name of index. So this is I will explain what it means, but just know that it's having the name of what? Of index, and then everything's like that. And then we are saying there is a what? Load this, load view, and then this is what we call welcome message. So before we proceed there, why did we extend CI controller? We extend CI controller so that we should have the power to control the project, the power to do what? To manage the links of the project, because all that knowledge, the logic is inside this controller. That's why we extended this controller. You know that. Secondly, now why are we creating this function, the public index function? We create that public index function to work as our page or as a section inside this link, or inside this controller. So remember, we say that this controller, according to our architecture, it is the one that will be controlling all the links. The one that will be controlling all the links. So it means that this view or the browser will have to request the controller. So by the power that we extended here, that we got from here, we shall be able to receive any link that is coming to our to our website. And then when we come to a website, we need to redirect or to select a right page to display. And a right page to display, it will be selected using these public functions. Now, before I load this view, let me just comment here like this. I comment and I save. If I come and refresh, you see nothing is being displayed. So what does it mean? It means that it is this load view that loads content that should be displayed inside our project. Now the question is, where is this content located? Of course, you can guess it is located in the view folder. But before we expand and see what is inside the view folder, I'm just going to do something a little bit, then we shall see. So you see, we come to controller, and this controller is the one that will load the view. So what is happening? We are requesting the controller, then this controller, it loads the view, and then this view is displayed back to to the browser. We have not included the model here. We have not talked about the model here. So we are just at this route. We request the controller does the logic of extending the controller, whatever, and then we will send back the view. So if we comment sending back the view, we will see nothing. So we can as well print anything, something from controller, even without loading the view. For example, I can say echo and say this is index in welcome controller. So can you see that's just a plain HTML, plain PHP, as it is inside the index. So if you come and refresh, you can see we have not touched views, we have not touched anything, we're just within the controller. So if I come and refresh my project here, you can see this is index in the welcome controller. So it means that we can as well communicate something even without loading the view. But you can see what is impossible. We cannot access the view before we access we access the controller. So before we proceed to the view, I want us to understand really what is happening. So to understand what is happening, the question is, how do we know that this time we want index? So to know that, I want to manually access this welcome controller. So to access the welcome controller, first of all, we'll first pass through this is another project. We'll first pass through the index and then specify the controller. So to do that, here after HMusic, this is the basic part of our website, our base link. I'll just put index.php. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that I have just, let me come to our project. It means that I've just specified this file. Okay, remember let me ask you, do you still remember the use of index? It is a default what? It's a default file. Hadi, you understand index, right? Hadija too, you understand index, right? So it is a default file, right? Like if you want, you can specify. If you don't want, you will not specify and it will automatically be opened. Okay? Had you get the point? Let's talk about it. I don't want to leave and say I didn't get the stuff. Do you understand what I'm trying to mean? Really? You want to cry? Adi, talk, speak up, be free. You're getting the point of index. Okay, very good. So index, you can either specify it or not specify it. So you see here, I've just specified index and nothing has changed. Okay, nothing has changed. You can mute your microphone. So what I'm going to do next, remember, I'm going to specify now I'm going to specify the controller because the controller that's being called. So to specify the controller, I'll put stroke welcome. So remember, we have only controller that is called welcome. So if I specify controller called welcome, still nothing changes. Okay, everything is okay. So what does it mean? I have manually accessed controller without passing anywhere. Okay, but should I put a wrong name of a controller here that does not exist, then we'll get the error that the page you're looking for is not found. But if I pass through index, I then specify the controller, everything will be okay. So what does it mean? It means that open here Word file, open new. So it means that we have something like this. So this is our base URL. Okay, URL where I can as well add index.php. We understand what is meant by this index.php. You can either add index.php or you can leave it. I think everyone understands this one, right? The base URL. Okay, so everyone understands this, right? You can either put this or you can leave it. Fat, you understand this, Fatmat? The default index part. You understand it? Fat, you understand this? I don't leave you behind. Very good. Okay. Yeah, because sometimes say you get it and say, sir, we are lost. So here everyone understands. So this is the the base URL. Let me add here where I'll be commenting stuff from. Maybe I should give this one a hand. Background. I want to explain stuff that should get them properly. Okay, so I hope you get the thing. This is the first the first part is our our base URL. So the second part is so this one I can just call it base URL. Okay, that's the first part. It's a table. So the second part that we may need to specify is is the welcome. And this, for example, according to what we are saying, so this is the welcome, for example, according to our project for now. And this welcome is is a controller. It's a controller, of course. Controller. If you specify the controller does not exist, then your project will tell you does not exist. Okay, so you can specify the controller. I hope you are together. So after specifying the controller, so we are here. After specifying the controller, so the question is now what next? What next can we specify? So what you can specify next is now the page, or is now the link, is now the method, is now a particular page under that controller. Just like you can have Facebook, and under Facebook there is messages. So under messages there's a particular message of a certain person. So likewise here we first specify the controller, and after the controller we can now specify the method. Okay, spelling this. Okay, so what is our default? Now here we have the default method. The default method is called index. So I can as well come here and specify index because our default method. Still everything is okay. So here we can specify the index. Okay, put this one here. So this is is a method, of course. Method. This is a what? Controller class. Can you see? This welcome is a what? It's a controller class, and inside here we have a what? We have a method. If you know, we understand what is method. Husna. What is a method according to object-oriented programming? What does it mean? I think is a function inside the class. Yeah. So yeah, that's how our teacher told us. That's it. A method is a function inside a class according to object-oriented programming. So you can see here we have a class, and here inside this class we have a public what? Public function, and it's called index. I can delete everything here. I should not confuse you. So this is just a function, and it's a public function. Index is called index. So under this function I'm equaling this. So here I specify the link, the URL, and then specify the controller class, and then specify the method that you want to control to access. Then you'll be able to access. Okay, so I'm going to create another method. Okay, for example, you can have a website and you having a controller for students. So that controller, it will handle only all the links that are meant only for students. So you can be checking the security for those links about the student in that controller. Then you create another controller for teachers. So it means that all the information that are logged about the teachers, they will be under that controller. Now, if I want to create another page, so I'll have to create a what? Another public function. So I can say public, and then I say function. You know, to create a function, then we give it a name. So I can call this one what? Messages, for example. And then I open and close, and just like this, I can echo messages from welcome controller. Okay, so Fatmata, if I'm to ask you, let me ask you, if you want to access this message, tell me where in this link I should change in order I should access this method of the message. You see, I've been accessing this one, whereby I first specify the controller. You see, I specify index.php, I specify the controller, and I specified the method, and then you're able to get the content here. Now my simple question is, how can I access this information inside the welcome message? Where should I change? Where I want to be able to display this on my screen. Messages from welcome controller. Have you been following? So where should I change? Which one? The one in the middle, the one here, or the one at the last? Are you sure? So you can see. So very good. We first specify the controller, and then we specify then the what? The method that you want to display. So it is as simple as that. So it means that we can have millions of methods, and these will be controlled by the what? By the link. So if we come back to our MVC architecture, everything comes and is received by the what? By the controller. So this controller is the one that will decide what should be displayed. Can you see? So I'll have all my links. So these are the links. Okay, maybe I can put here notifications. Okay, so I can say this is notifications from the welcome class. So you can see I mean that all the links we can control them from here, but before we couldn't control the links. Someone could access the files directly, but here now, before I display a file, I can first think, or I can first do the logic, make the decisions, and then decide what to display. For example, if I want to access now notification, I'll have to put notification here, and then it will switch to notification. If I don't specify anything, the index one will be displayed. If I want to display messages, I'll just change this one to messages, and then message will be displayed. Musa, did you understand so far? Good. Hosna, did you get the stuff? You understand? Hosnat, do you understand, right? Okay. So it means that we can have even here 1,000 and more links. Okay. So I can put here about us. So it means that if you come here and put stroke about us, so you can see about us, welcome about us. So that's how we do what? We create the controllers, and that's how the controllers can manage links. Now we come to a view. Now we have understood how controller works. Now we come to the view. So the view, we said, is where you'll put all your HTML, is where you put all the things that you want the user to see. Of course, it will be so complicated if you want to put all your HTML here. You can do it. Why? Because if you put anything here, it will be displayed in front here. Okay? So it means that even if I stop here and I start writing my HTML, still it will work. Why? Because as long as it will come to the user side, it will work. But will it be logical if I get all the pages and I put them in one file? Of course, no. So that's why I need MVC. Like, the logic is done separately, like you've seen me controlling here the links separately. And then here, what you need to show the user, we put it also separately in another file. And those files are stored inside the what? Inside the view. You can as well put them here, but that will be stupid. I'm not even afraid to say it. It will be stupid mistake if you put your files inside controller. Why? Because there will be this file will be so big. But this part is just to control the links. Now all your HTML will go inside the what? Inside the views. But HTML can go here, but it will be stupid mistake to put the HTML here. So where are our views? So that is the what? The other part of our architecture, which is here, the view here. Okay, so I've seen how we can access this one, and then now we're going to see how we can load this one. So all our views are inside views here. Okay, all our views are inside this view here. So these views can be a PHP file, it can be index file, and it does not extend in any class. Okay, for example, here you can see we are loading a view. Can you see? We are loading a view. This load view, and then you pass the view name that you're loading. So if you do like this, CodeIgniter will come and look for the file of the same name inside this one, inside this view, and that file will be able to be displayed to the user's browser. So you can see here, if I comment and then I come and just remove this and open the default function, you can see. And where is this file? This file is under the folder, in the folder view, and it is here. Okay, so I'm going to create my own file. Okay, So I'm going to create my own file. I'm going to call it maybe about us. So I'll come here under the view, new file, and I'm going to put here, it can be anything. So I'm going to begin by saving. It can be HTML file, or it can be in the what? It can be a PHP file. So I'm going to say about us dot php. So about us dot php, I'm going to put here just lorem. Or I can just put here some h2, and let's say about us view. This is coming from where? From views. About us view, and then I have some simple lorem, maybe p tag. Okay, so this file is under where? Under view. So I want to load it here in the welcome. So if I want to load in the welcome, I can comment this one. So members, you may need to install, note it down, you may need to install packages of CodeIgniter. Control Shift P, don't forget to do that. Install packages, and then it will load here, and then after you will have to write what? You will have to write, it's loading. You will have to write CodeIgniter. So me, I already have them. I already installed some CodeIgniter packages. So you may need to install like 2 or 3. And then you'll be able to get help in Sublime Text. Now, for example, if I want to load the view, how do you load the view? You begin the $sign and say this. Okay. Then you point at what? At load. And then you point at what? At view. I will show you how to simply do it without just the use of packages. So by doing this like this, to load for you a view. Now, which view I want to load? I want to load this about us view. So I can load this about us view by simply saying about us. Can you see? I'm loading it inside the what? Inside the index. So it doesn't matter. Once in the index, you can load any view that you want. So load about us. So if I don't specify the extension, I can say load about us.php, no problem. So it will come here and look for the file which is named about us.php, and then it will be displayed. So I mean that all the HTML, the bootstrap, the what, it will be displayed. We shall put it inside the what? Inside the index, I mean inside the view files. So if I come and refresh here, you can see the about us page has been loaded here, and this about us page is coming from where? From the view. But it will be stupid to put this content here and you echo it here. Can you see? Then I come and write all this and I put it inside this controller here, or I echo it. It will work, but it will be a bad idea. So what do? We put them in a separate file inside the view folder, and we can load those views here, as we have done what? As I've shown you. Are we together, members? Fatima, are we together? Musa, are we together? Members, I want you to respond. Who's now together? Who's not? Okay. Okay, if you are together, that is good. Okay. So I can create as many files as I want. So here it is where our HTML will go. The logic will be here. And then the user interface, whatever, will be inside here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this one, load about us.php. I can as well remove it, load about us.php. If I remove it, still it will work. It will just go and look for load about us file which has extension of PHP. So I can put .php or I can leave it. Let us assume we see that we can as well put there the HTML file. Now this is .php view. I'm going to create another view with the same name, but with what? With .html. Okay. So this is HTML. Okay. and put here HTML, and then I'm going to put this one that we should separate. You see, you have two ones, eh? This was for PHP extension, PHP. So you see, this .html, .php, all of them the same folder. Now let's come and see if we don't specify which one is loaded by default. .php is loaded by default. Remember, I want you to get this point. Now, if .php does not exist, let me rename .php. I've renamed .php, so it does not exist anymore. Refresh. You see, it is not it's not existing. So controller will try to look for that one .php. Now, if I want to load .html, then I will have to manually specify .html. Otherwise, if I don't specify, the controller will try to look for .php. So you see, now .html has been loaded. But if you don't specify, they'll look for what? For .php. So if I specify it, I leave it, now still it will show .html. Why? Because I specified here. So this same file, I can reuse it in different in different links or in different methods. For example, here in the same messages, I can still load that load about us view. Okay, it's not limited because it's just a file. So to load a view, if you have already put the controller, if you already put the if you have already put if you have already put packages, you can load the view by just writing load like this. You see, you have load view, load model, load helper, load library. So I just say load what? Load view. Then the remaining part will be written for myself. Will be written for me. So I'll just put here the name of the file that I want to load. For example, I can say about us. So of course the HTML. I'll delete these other things. The remaining attributes, I'll explain them in another class. If I refresh here, you see, everything is okay. Why? Because the index one, the one that is opened. But if I come and open this of messages, you see the PHP has been loaded. Okay. So lastly, now the question is, if I remove, remember, I can have more than one controller. Okay, I can create my controller by simply right clicking here the folder controller, say new file, and now all I will save. Now all controllers should begin with the what? With a capital letter. Okay, so I can say all the files that are related to public, I will be putting them in the side inside the public controller. So I can say maybe public. Okay, public.php. All controllers should begin in the what? With a capital letter. Then I save. Okay, now after creating that I'm trying to create the second controller. Okay, so after creating the public controller, now you have to implement the remaining part. So we have to create a what? Now the class, and this class should be as the same name as that of the name of a file. So I'll first start my PHP, and you don't close your PHP, and then we create a what? A controller. So to create a controller, if you want to put a package, you can just simply write controller like this. If you have packages, you just press enter, everything will be made for you. So I delete this part here of PHP. So I'll remove this define whatever, I'll remove it. I'll come and delete this part, the comments, and then I'll come and remove what? Remove this public. Okay, already the public has been made. Okay, no, we cannot use this name public. Okay, we cannot use it because it's used here, so it will cause a conflict. Okay, so I can call this one, okay, let me call it home. So all my files that will be in public, I'll call them home. So public, this class should also have home, and this home will extend what? CodeIgniter. Remember, do you understand how I create this class? It's another controller. Okay, it's a second controller. You got it, Musa, right? It should be capital letter, and the name, and it should have the same name as that of a what? As that of a file. So it means that I have created my second controller, I can make as many controllers as I want. Okay, so if I want to do what? If I want to display anything, I can just simply say echo. Remember, I've showed you how to load views, so I can say this is index in what? In home controller. Okay, now the question is, Hadi, your question is loading. So here maybe I can say blog, and then I can say this is blog. Hadija 2. She has gone to the question is now, your question is, I want to access this. Remember, we now have two controllers, this one and this one. Now I want to access this in our controller, this blog in our controller. What should I load? Do you understand the question? Now very good. Tell me what to write. So I'll have to change up to where? Where should I rub? Tell me, speak up. Are you sure? Okay, let me put blog. Did it work? I should remove the index? Yeah, the message is okay. Here is the code. I have two controllers, the home controller and the welcome controller. We can have as many controllers as we want. Remember here. After base, you specify. After you specify the method, you specify the controller and the method, right? So we have two controllers. Remember, you can have as many controllers as you want. I say the controller can have as many methods as you want. Now inside the home controller, I want to access the blog method. So what should I change? What should I change? I should remove this welcome. Very good. And I put what? Home controller. And then we'll be able to do what? To see. You understood, right? Yes? So that's how we can switch along controller. So you can say this controller is for teachers. If you're making a school management system, you can create a controller that will have teacher, and you'll put all the functions that are related to teachers, submit marks, create a student. You put them inside one controller. So every time that someone wants to open, so the question is now, why do you need different controllers? You can decide like all my methods for security. You can decide all my methods about the teacher. I'll put them inside the controller of a teacher. So every time someone wants to open a method of a teacher controller, you'll first check whether he is a teacher or not. So if he's a teacher, you'll give them go ahead and show the view. If they are not teachers, you can block them. Members, do you understand the point? You can make a controller for students. Like, I want only the student to access this place. Then all the methods, students, check grades, students, submit assignments, student, all those methods, you put them in one controller, and you can decide, set some rules before you display any view. You'll first check if it's a student, whether it's logged in that, and then you'll see. You'll first check and do something before you load the what? Before you load a view. So can you see, like, Musa? Can you now see, like, now our project is going to be a little bit more organized than before, as well as having more control over it? Can you see it? Because now tasks are separated, links are managed. Okay, very good. So that's it. So you can make as many controllers as you want, but don't make too many controllers that will confuse you. Make few controllers that are meaningful, and then put methods that are supposed to be in those particular controllers. For now, it may look a little bit complicated, but as we continue, you will understand the concept and you'll be able to do what? To implement the MVC. And once you understand MVC, many architectures that use MVC, a lot of projects in coming time, a lot of technology that use MVC. Once you understand the MVC, then any kind of MVC you'll be able to understand. The controller for controlling the links, then the view. Tomorrow, the next class, you'll look at what? At the model, how to implement now the model in the next class. So that's it. Now lastly, the question is, now what if we don't specify the controller? Members, the question is, what if just someone comes to www.hmusic.com like this one? Can you see what is being done? What is done exactly? The welcome controller is loaded, and after welcome controller, of course, the index part is loaded because it is default. Okay. Now the question is, we may delete this welcome controllers. We don't need it. In fact, once we start implementing real world projects, we shall define our own controllers. Now the question is, how do we set the default controller? So to set a default controller, Fatima, you get the question that what I'm trying to mean. Like if someone comes website without specifying any stuff, what should be the default thing? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So to set that default controller, for example, I want to set now the home. Remember, I have to welcome and this home. So I want to set this home controller to be our default controller. To do that, you come to configuration, you come to routing, like network routing. You remember routing in networking. So you come to routes file here. You come to files, then you scroll down, you'll see default controller, route default controller. We shall look at this. You can read these comments, okay? Now, but you'll find default controller, and you can see the default controller is what? Members? Can someone respond? Is it what? Is a welcome controller. So if you want a home controller to be the default controller, what should I write here? I should write what is it? I want the home one to be. So if I put home, so this should be an existing controller inside our controllers here. You see, I already have home. So it means that this one is now the what? The default. Now if I come and refresh, can you see? Boom. It has switched to what? To home controllers. So I'll stop from here unless there is a question for today. You have a question? Ask. Yeah. The what? CodeIgniter, yes? CodeIgniter. How to here? How we reached the view? How to download it? Come to website, just say download. Just write CodeIgniter like there. CodeIgniter download. And then you see their website. Just click there. You have CodeIgniter 4 and CodeIgniter 3. Just download CodeIgniter 3. Then you're good to go. Yeah. Another question, members. Documentation is here, well written. Husnat, I have a question. Husnat. Husna is there? You have a question? Okay, so before the next class, that is before when? Monday, inshallah. Monday, right? Yeah, Monday. Yeah, Monday. So before Monday, how many classes do you have per week? Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, right? Okay. Before Monday, members, at least you should have practiced this video, and I'll need you to show me what you have done so far.